Wild boars are tearing through thousands of acres of farmland in Bulgaria, leaving behind millions of dollars in losses. Entire crops vanish overnight. Families struggle to protect their livelihoods, and fear grips the countryside. In the dead of winter, when the cold cuts to the bone, Finn and his hunting team push deeper into the frozen woods, knowing that every step could be the difference between success and disaster. Can they line up the shot before the beast slips back into the wilderness? As dawn breaks, the snow-covered forests of Bulgaria glow under a flare. Finn's crew advances in silence, every move deliberate, the tension so thick it hangs in the air. Then, in an instant, the hounds erupt, the hunt has begun, and the prey is on the run. Finn doesn't hesitate. Through the scope, the wild boar fills his sight. Calm and steady, he squeezes the trigger. The rifle cracks through the icy air, and the beast stumbles, lurches forward a few steps, then crashes into the snow. A clean takedown, made possible by flawless coordination with the dogs. Out here, teamwork isn't just helpful, it's the key to survival. The hunt presses on as the team pushes deeper into the forest, every scent sharp and alert. Suddenly, a shadow darts across their path. A single gunshot shatters the silence. Quick, precise, and lethal, the boar drops instantly. In that fleeting moment, Finn proves his mastery once again. Steady hands, razor-sharp instincts, and execution without fault. As night settles in and the cold cuts sharper, the team starts making their way back to the rendezvous point. Just when it seems the hunt is done, Finn's eyes lock onto the faintest movement. He drops into a crouch, steady as stone, finger poised on the trigger. One shot breaks the silence. The boar falls without a sound. No thrashing, no fight, only stillness. For a moment, the land feels a little more at peace. A few days later, with the snow beginning to recede, Finn and his crew take new positions along the western hillside. The minutes crawl by. Heavy silence. Finn doesn't waver, his gaze fixed, his focus unbroken. Then, through the tree lean, a shadow emerges. Instinct takes control. He squeezes the trigger. The rifle's crack echoes across the valley, and the boar drops instantly, never even aware of the danger. Moments later, Finn spots another group hidden deep in the underbrush. With lightning-fast precision, he adjusts his sights and fires. One boar drops instantly, while the others scatter into the shadows. Without hesitation, Finn signals his team. The hounds erupt, their cries piercing the forest as they pick up another trail. James charges forward, eyes locked and unwavering, ready for the strike. Then comes the critical moment. One clean, decisive shot, perfectly placed. Almost at once, more signals echo through the trees. Gunfire cracks across the forest, each shot swift and final. One by one, the threats are silent. In mere moments, the chaos gives way to calm, and once again, the land is safe. The hunt is over. The destroyers of the fields have been brought down, and the victory belongs not only to the marksmen, but to the unbreakable bond between local farmers, the authorities, and the brotherhood of our team. Together, every piece fell into place, and the land can finally breathe again. Once more, the hunters answer the call at just the right moment, and this time they prevail. Our deepest gratitude goes to the community and the authorities whose trust, support, and partnership made this mission possible.
Perfeito.
Many people assume bears show up in towns only because their forests are shrinking, natural food is scarce, or their populations have bounced back through conservation efforts. While all of that plays a role, there's another overlooked reason: human carelessness. Campers and hikers often leave behind food scraps, and those leftovers don't go unnoticed. Bit by bit, bears have come to associate people with easy meals. That's why they're no longer shy about raiding cornfields, ripping into beehives, toppling garbage cans, and in some cases, even attacking livestock. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next adventure. In some places, bears have grown so bold that they break into homes, putting not only farmers and their livelihoods at risk, but also the safety of entire communities. Encounters like these are no longer rare. They're a real concern for anyone living near bear country. To address the problem, wildlife officials across North America have introduced carefully regulated hunting programs aimed at controlling populations and reducing damage. On one of these hunts, we set out a bait pile of grain, honey, and salmon, a combination no bear can resist. By midday, the warm breeze carried the sweet, fishy scent deep into the forest, calling to any hungry predator nearby. I took a position about 60 yards out, nestled behind a wall of brush and fallen timber, my .30-06 steady on the bipod. As the last light of day stretched long shadows across the forest floor, a massive bear emerged. It moved with caution, nose lifted, testing the air as it followed the bait scent. My pulse quickened. I forced myself to steady my breathing, finger poised on the trigger, waiting for that single, flawless shot. Bear hunting is never a one-man job. These animals are powerful, unpredictable, and demand both respect and teamwork. I was part of a three-man crew, led by Craig, a seasoned hunter with years in the Wyoming backcountry. We trekked along a rugged ridge, snow clinging to the rocks as the crisp air carried the bite of sage and ice. After a grueling 3-hour climb, Craig's sharp eyes locked onto a grizzly, a hulking shadow with a bronze coat shimmering in the fading light, stalking prairie dogs across the slope. We slipped into position behind a cluster of boulders, closing the distance to just 270 yards. My first shot cut through the thin mountain air and struck true. The grizzly let out a thunderous roar, rearing up in defiance, before a second round found its mark just behind the shoulder. At last, the giant collapsed, its immense body still radiating untamed power, its claws catching the fading light like sharpened steel. Far from the high ridges, in the growing suburbs of eastern Wyoming, black bears have become bold intruders. They wander into hayfields and feedlots as if they belong there, leaving a trail of damage that the U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates at nearly $5 million a year. Determined to track one down, I relied on an ATV and a drone, following its movements across the open range for 2 days. At dawn, I finally spotted it, a dark silhouette against the windbreak near a weathered fence, the morning light outlining its sleek, restless form. Using a patch of brush for cover, I eased forward until I was within 150 yards. The bear paused, sniffing the air before rising on its hind legs and locking eyes with me. I squeezed off a single shot that pierced its lung. It charged forward in a final burst, kicking up dust, before collapsing just a few yards away. But not every encounter ends with a clean kill. One late afternoon from a tree stand, I spotted a bear wander into view, this time far too close for a safe shot. My heart hammered as I froze in place, but a sudden shift in the wind gave me away. The bear's head jerked up, its dark eyes meeting mine. It circled beneath me, growling low, while I gripped my rifle, every muscle on edge. Then a sharp crack of a branch startled the animal, and it tore off into the brush. I had broken one of hunting's golden rules: never let a bear get that close. Shaken but grateful, I climbed down, frustrated at the mischance but relieved to walk away unharmed. On Alaska's rugged Kenai Peninsula, I joined a veteran guide for a hunt along the salmon-fed river. We pitched camp near a bend famous for spawning runs, where the air was heavy with a mingled sense of pine and fish. Hours passed in tense silence until a massive grizzly thundered through the shallows, its fur glittering with scales as it hauled a writhing salmon onto the bank. With my rifle braced on the bipod, I tracked the bear's every move. When the timing was perfect, I squeezed the trigger, sending a round just behind its ear. The giant dropped instantly, a powerful reminder of both the hunt's precision and Alaska's raw, untamed beauty. Yet controlled hunts like this remain controversial. For some, they're a vital tool to manage exploding bear populations. For others, they cross a moral line. The debate is far from settled. I'd love to hear what you think. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more stories on wildlife management and conservation. Every scene in this video was filmed under local laws and with respect for ethical hunting practices. Welcome to Leopard Farm, where adventure is always just around the corner. But bears aren't the only challenge we face. Out on the edge of town, my buddy Ballman has been battling a different menace. Wild boars have been storming through his fields like living tornadoes, tearing up crops and threatening his livelihood. Watching his hard work vanish overnight lit a fire in me to help. With rifles in hand, hounds at our side, and a crew of local hunters ready for action, we set out into the rugged mountains, knowing this hunt was going to be anything but ordinary. The forest was no easy ground to cover, but our dogs, loyal, sharp, and fearless, took the lead. Their barks split the stillness of the mountains, signaling trouble ahead. We pressed deeper through tangled underbrush until their frantic howls locked onto a massive wild boar. With steady hands and years of hard-earned experience, I lined up the shot and dropped the beast where it stood. But even without the dogs, the land spoke to us. A faint whiff of musk, a patch of freshly torn earth. Those were the signs that made every nerve sharpen. And sure enough, deep in the mountains, another danger erupted. A huge boar burst from the brush, charging with raw fury. My instincts took over. I raised my rifle, squeezed the trigger, and hit a vital spot. The beast staggered, still driving forward for a few terrifying moments, but I knew it wouldn't make it much farther. As the crew spread out to track fresh sign, I caught sight of another boar crashing through the brush. I radioed Delvet, and his sharp eyes locked onto the fleeing animal. One well-placed shot dropped it, sending the beast tumbling down the hillside in a cloud of dust. The rush of the hunt was electric, but danger never stayed far away. Moments later, a third boar charged straight at me. Instinct took over, I squeezed the trigger, and the animal collapsed mid-stride. It was another unforgettable chapter in a hunt I'll never forget. Yet even in the heat of the chase, our crew never loses sight of responsibility. Every outing is carried out within legal seasons and designated zones. For us, hunting isn't just about adrenaline. It's about protecting balance in the wild and ensuring our passion honors the land and animals we depend on. Tucked into southwestern Turkey, Mugla Province is known for its stunning beaches and rugged mountain ranges that attract travelers from across the globe. But behind the postcard views lies a growing crisis, exploding wild boar population. In the past year alone, these animals destroyed more than 300 hectares of farmland, leaving local farmers desperate for relief. Because pork is rarely eaten in Turkey, boar numbers have skyrocketed without natural control, pushing hunting groups like ours to step in and help restore balance. Deep in the western mountains of Mugla, one of the region's most notorious boar strongholds, we took our positions. Rifles steady and eyes locked on the tree lean. We didn't have to wait long. A massive boar burst through the brush at full speed, forcing our hearts to race with it. Adrenaline surged as we gave chase, and with a single well-placed shot, we brought down our first trophy of the day. The forest erupted into chaos. Dogs barking, boars squealing, and gunfire cracking through the trees in a raw, heart-pounding rhythm. One after another, we dropped massive beasts as they crashed through the brush like something out of an ancient legend. From a lower ridge, I caught sight of a towering alpha boar breaking away. I steadied my breathing, lined up the sights, and with a single precise shot, sent it tumbling to the ground, clear testament to our skill and determination. Wild boars are breeding machines, producing litters of 6 to 12 piglets year-round, fueling an unchecked population boom. The consequences are devastating. Experts estimate they cause as much as $80 million in crop losses annually. That's why our hunts, carried out with the support of local authorities, are more than just tradition. They're part of a larger effort to curb this destructive force and restore balance to the land. In one heart-stopping instant, a massive boar charged straight at us, its tusks flashing like weapons in the fading light. My first shot staggered it, but the beast refused to stop. Forcing myself to stay calm, I squeezed the trigger again, and the second round finally brought it crashing down. The danger was real, our adrenaline surging from the close call, but But instead of rattling us, it only hardened our resolve. For newcomers to the hunt, one rule stands above all: never go it alone. Too many things can go wrong, and the risks are far too high. Later that same day, I spotted a full-grown boar rooting in the open. Years of training steadied my hand as I leveled the sights and took the shot. One calm, deliberate pull of the trigger, and the animal dropped instantly.